Welcome to Christianity, Culture, and Cults. I'd encourage you to go ahead and like the videos and to subscribe to the channel. The question I want to deal with over this next series of videos has to do with whether or not the COGR is God's church based on prophecy. The reason for entertaining that question is that when I first encountered the group, I found a lot of negative social media that indicated that this group, the COGR, was a theological mess. However, they made claims which, if true, would necessitate following them. That is, my salvation would hang in the balance if I were to ignore them. So, as likely as their claims seemed to be, it was necessary to look at the claims and evaluate them because they were large claims. Now, I'm just not an advocate for rejecting something without testing its truthfulness. So this was my effort to do just that. The COGR does make several interesting claims. They believe that God is using their ministry, that is the seventh trumpet ministry, to regenerate the world and to bring all things under God. The COGR has 12 end-time apostles who sit on messianic thrones and are the rulers and the governors of the world. Salvation comes through their apostleship, and those who are saved will recognize their ministry. They teach that their ministry is validated through prophecy and that they are founded on prophecy. So it was evident to me that to understand the group, it would be necessary to understand how they view the book of Revelation. While having some concerns about the group, I was determined to understand enough about their beliefs to determine that they were legitimate or illegitimate. It seemed like an easy enough task to start with. However, the information was actually pretty hard to come by. When I posted questions on the various chat groups, individuals who were no longer part of the group or individuals who were actually still part of the group did not choose to engage or answer the questions. I made contact with some of the apostles, one of the apostles, and he assured me that he would be of assistance and then ghosted me. So I was left on my own to determine how I was going to get this information. But fortunately, on their website, on their YouTube website, there is a series on Revelation. It's a 15-part series. It takes about 25 hours to watch it. So I began to watch it to see whether or not it would provide the answers that I needed to be able to understand whether or not they were a legitimate group. So I reviewed it. I tried to be fair with my evaluation, and certainly if this is God's church, I would want to join them if they were correct. So then I needed to decide what kind of criteria I would be looking for, because if I had no criteria that could change my mind, it wouldn't make any sense even to do the investigation. So I determined that I would need to understand several of their core beliefs from their perspective in order to proceed. And it also wasn't unreasonable to expect to find those beliefs supported by Scripture, since they were so central to the group. Well, what would convince me? Any of the following would have been helpful. From the Scriptures, if I had encountered a clear biblical indication that God had selected the 12 end-time apostles, that would be very helpful. Any prophecies that clearly identified these specific apostles in a way that you would know that this was the group. And any scripture that speak directly to the presence of end-time apostles would be helpful. Some instructions to obey the end-time apostles would be anticipated if they were in existence. Scriptures that elevated the role of the end-time apostles to the position that they seem to believe that they have, that would be helpful as well. And biblical passages that support the teachings that I found to be incredibly speculative. From their doctrine, I would hope to find that most of their Bible teaching was theologically correct and that there were no heresies involved in that. And I'd also like to see that their doctrines that come from Revelation were not based on pure speculation. From observation, looking at tapes and other things, I would anticipate seeing that the apostles demonstrate the character and the nature of Jesus. And I would also expect some confirmation, because Jesus himself received confirmation by way of miracles and prophecy, and the apostles, the early apostles, also had their ministry confirmed by way of signs and wonders. So you might expect that there would be some indication that these last 12 apostles would experience that same sort of thing. So, to cut to the chase, as they say, in the end, I did not find any reason to identify the COGR as God's particular people, nor did I find any of their distinctive teachings credible. Instead, I found hundreds of points that further convinced me that the COGR is an illegitimate pretender. To simplify the material, I divided the questionable passages into 5 types of errors. Those headings were defined as Bible errors or mischaracterizations, and essentially these were mistakes in understanding the scripture. They were simply a mistake. They read something differently than it was put in the scriptures originally, or they presented something in a way that was not legitimate. The second was exegetical errors. Exegesis is the study of the Bible using history and language and other tools in order to be able to better understand the text. When people do exegesis, they generally arrive at similar conclusions. Many of the passages that the COGR presented in a unique sort of way were simply exegetically wrong. Nobody else reads them that way. There's no reason for them to read them that way. It was just a result of a lack of training, a lack of language awareness and that sort of thing. Then there were theological errors. They made a number of errors in regard to the nature of Jesus. And you wouldn't anticipate that a group that was apparently inspired would have errors about the nature of God or the nature of salvation. Also, there were manipulative and coercive statements that were made. There are places where the comments of the 12 apostles were simply designed to cow the people or to prevent them from resisting them. They presented ideas in such a way that they could not be discussed. There's one viewpoint, and it's the viewpoint of the ministry, and it's that way or the highway, folks. And then finally, the last category was unsupported speculation. This was a very large category. They say things that have no backing in Scripture at all, and they present them as if they have the truth, as if this was something that fell from the heavens, and it's correct. Well, if their viewpoint was correct, certainly other Scripture would validate those teachings. So there was a lot of unsupported speculation. I'm going to go ahead and cut this here, and in the next video, I will look at some of the ways that the rest of the world interprets Revelation, and that will provide a perspective on how to view the book of Revelation. Following that, I will begin to look at their errors by category. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and please, I would encourage you to watch the second and third videos coming up.
Disappointment is a bitter pill to swallow, paying back the hope I borrowed from someone I never knew. It's a forfeit, humans in the suits of heroes, undressed by whispered conspiracies, in quest for truth. But if the truth is what you're looking for, you don't get to set you free. I do. Someday, well, if the truth is what I'm looking for, I don't get to choose the answers anymore. So tell me, do I really still believe that the truth will set me free?